Let us now talk about section 9 of chapter 3. Here we will learn how to use publicly available information to conduct competitive intelligence. So basically we have to conduct a strategic audit where we will be auditing everything around the environment. The strategic audit for environmental scanning, so that we can explore a practical checklist to help identify opportunities and threats in your business environment. So, it is important for the organization to do a thorough audit so that you can prepare a set of checklist. A strategic audit is a useful tool to scan your environment for opportunities and threats. It's like a checklist with questions organized by different areas of concern. The audit covers 3 important areas. I am sure you would have guessed it by this time. We have done this when we started the chapter. Now, as we are in the second last section, you would have definitely guessed it. First being the natural environment. This looks at environmental factors such as climate change, sustainability and resource availability. For example, a farming business needs to consider how changing weather patterns could affect crop yields, because for a farmer this is an important information. Second, societal environment. It examines economic, technological, political, legal and socio-cultural forces in the society, which we have studied in detail. But let us take one more example of a tech company. A tech company must be aware of shifting consumer preferences and technological advancements. So, if you created a biometric and you thought that is the end of this particular technology, now no new technology will override this, then they were mistaken. There are face scanners now. You do not even need to wait for barcoding. So, earlier we used to go to the national highways and we used to wait for the cars to stop so that we can make the payment. Now, cars do not need to wait. The FASTag can do that job for them easily. The last is the task environment. This area focuses on your industry and considers the threat of new competitors, buyer and supplier power, substitutes, rivalry among existing companies and other stakeholders' influence. So, let us take one more example here. In the airline industry, competition, fuel prices and customer expectations are key factors. Now, let us go back to the natural environment and let us have a deeper understanding of it. Here are some questions that we need to consider. You remember when we started this, I have mentioned that there are certain checklists that needs to be prepared, and that checklist is very important. So, checklist or the question for natural environment will be, how do environmental factors like climate change or resource availability affect your business? Let us take one example. An outdoor tourism company needs to adapt to changing weather patterns that could impact its operations. Now, let us talk about the question for the societal environment. Here we can ask what economic, technological, political, legal and socio-cultural trends might impact your industry or market. Let us take one more example. An online retail business should monitor economic conditions like consumer spending habits and legal regulations for e-commerce. And lastly, the question for the task environment. Here we can ask, how does your industry fare in terms of new entrants? The power of buyers and suppliers, potential substitute products, competition among existing firms and the influence of other stakeholders. Let us take one more example. The hospitality industry needs to assess the competitive landscape, supplier relationships and customer preferences. So, in short, the strategic audit is a valuable tool to scan your business environment in a more detailed way. By examining the natural, societal and task environment, you can identify opportunities and threats that guide your strategic planning. Now, we will be moving to the last section. I am sure you have a smile on your face because we are moving towards the last section.